evening. Good evening. How you doing there?
I'm good. I'm glad you could join us for our daily talk at the Museum of Graffiti. We are featuring your work today. You are 1/3 of the world famous TATS crew. But besides that, you are an independent artist on your own right. So we want to explore that with you. So I am going to read some of your bio to our visitors to get familiar with you. BG183 is one of the founding members of the legendary TATS crew, born and raised in the South Bronx, a veteran with over 37 years in the game. He's known for his many styles of letters, detailed characters, and complex backgrounds. His work has been exhibited in museums and galleries throughout the United States and internationally, including the Smithsonian Museum, the Bronx Museum, Box Gallery, Guangzhou in China, Casa de Cultura in Mexico, and Hip Hop Paris 2015, amongst others. He's worked on campaign projects for McDonald's, Coca-Cola, MTV, as well as advertisements for Jennifer Lopez, Ice-T, Fat Joe, and John Mayer. BG183 has been featured in the New York Times, Vibe Magazine, Chicago Tribune, The Source Magazine, and in books like Spray Can Art, The Art of Getting Up, Broken Windows, and Graffiti World. That is quite an accomplishment, young man.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, a lot of hard work. Definitely a lot of hard work. So, never easy.
Yeah. So BG, I want to welcome you, and let's start your story because it's so fascinating. I've known you since you were a young guy, but let's start when you were a young guy before graffiti.
Oh, when I started, I started more as an artist. Like when I was 4 years old, my sister decided, I'm going to teach you how to draw. So I've been drawing since I was a little kid. Even like in elementary school, when I was like in the fourth and third grade, fifth grade, I was always doing art. And the art I was doing was basically like Spider-Man, the Batman, the Flintstone back in the days. And, and because of that reason, I got an award, in the fifth grade and back in 1974. It was like that was like the beginning of me doing art. But graffiti was later on, that's what later on I got into graffiti, and that, I never looked back. I even stopped doing art because of that reason. I just started going the art of letters.
And so how did you discover the art of letters? Was it just around you? Did you know people who were writing?
Yeah, born and raised in the Bronx, you saw it in the war. I used to take the train to high school. Like back then I was in junior high school, but high school, I went to James Monroe High School. And during that time, I started seeing like these colorful subways, that was painted by, I don't know, like artists I never saw before. But, in the major art class, when I was in James Monroe High School, I met, my partners now, like I've been with them for years. I met Bio, I met Nisa during like the time when I was, in James Monroe. And Bio was already doing letters. I was doing letters, and I needed to like, to really improve at that. So there was like no teaching regarding to like how to do letters. So I really went upon myself to try to learn. I had another writer that used to be there. His name was Poem, UA, and he was like one of like real dope doing letters. So like he showed me little skills, from there I just took it on. But not only that I did the letters, I had to master the art of tag. That's the first thing you do when you get into graffiti. Like you got to learn how to do tags, from tags to throw up, from throw up to pieces. And, from there, I just improved, like, right away. I remember in the summer of like 1980 when I, when I got out of school in James Monroe High School, I stood home, just practicing how to do letters. Like, it was every day. So when I went back in September, I was ready to prepare. I prepared to battle all the people for letters, just to show my skill level was improving. And that's what I kept doing. And that's how I got, the way I am now, because I always wanted to take that extra step using a spray can and creating artwork. And here it's like, me, Bayo and Nisa, we did like a memorial wall. This is like really early. Like this is like he passed away, I think in 95, 94, and I'm
94.
94, and he was like one of the first member of TATS crew that passed away.
What was his
And
name?
his name is Jay. In the background, Bio worked on the letters, Nisa did the background, what I worked on the face, and that's like really the first time working on a face with spray paint. And this one I took really 2 days to master it. I used all the different colors from Krylon to Rust-Oleum, whatever was in the market at that time I was using, and that's what I created, this mural for him that was painted that early years.
Nice. Let's roll back to high school. At that point, did you guys formulate the crew, TATS crew? And what does TATS crew stand for?
Okay, it was TAT. It was like, was created by Brim, Bio, Mac, and another writer called Bass. They met back in junior high school. I met Bio in James Monroe High School when he was a freshman. I was already in my junior year. And so I met Bio. Bio was also, he was writing. So, he was like one of the guys that, was cool. And so he brought me to like the Bronx River. And that's how we all met. We started like meeting. Even when I first started, I was considered a toy. And even all the writers were showing me love or no respect. And I would be standing there next to other graffiti artists that was in my high school, in James Monroe High School. And they would never show me love because they didn't know who I was. So I had to go out there and really do what I had to do. And that's how I met Nisa during that time. And, we all got together. And, they put me down with TAT. And that's how, we started doing.
And the acronym TAT stands for what?
That time was called the Art Team. Teenagers are tough, fast team. So these was like, name that we was creating, just to show the other artists that was out there. You had the UA, you had the UBA during the 80s. And a lot of old writers had stopped writing because they had painted the train white. They called them the White Elephant. So, and during that time, I think a lot of these artists went into galleries. And like in the early 80s, where they was doing galleries, we was doing subways, and that was our mission. We went all out. We had the crew, we had Ken, the Sam, Shane 125, the Raz, everybody down with it, and we just kept, adding like more people, to the crew. And that was like the best thing. You had the Mac, one of my favorite artists, and, so on and so on. And, we created this crew that the only thing that we wanted to do is just show skills with the spray cap. Like no matter how we did it, we took all the Krylon, like the hot pinks, the aqua turquoise, the avocado, the baby blues, and these we used to use it for blending, and that's how we got busy. And we make sure, and we will always compete with each other. Bob would look over mine, I would look over Bio, Nisa would look over Bio, and and that improved the skill level, of our crew to to get better. Like, and then you had during that time you had the Scene. Scene was rocking the white trains. He had like chapter 1 to chapter 10 of all different stuff that he was doing on the line, and he was blowing everything away.
So you were driven by competition, by what was on trains, but also with your friends. And I guess that stayed with you guys for a long time, because I mean, this is a more recent picture of you three in Coney Island, and the very things you talk about, the color palettes and the imagery, you see how much more refined it is today.
Yeah, a lot of years of painting, with this picture from the other pictures like 22 years later.
Wow.
So the skill levels already was up there. And, now with all these colors coming from overseas, so, you could do whatever you want to do. You could do blend from like 10 different blues to 10 different reds.
Well, you mentioned
Just,
paint coming from overseas, but also you had writers coming from overseas. You had
oh
Howard
yeah,
Nazem join you
yeah,
guys.
yeah. Howard Nazem came from overseas, and their mission was, we want to paint trains. And these guys went on a mission to paint trains, and they really went all out, even not only in America, but around the world, they just got busy. And these guys, when they got down with the crew, it was like like it made us work harder. Like, these guys were so young, we had to work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And if we
like,
look at this lineup, this mural lineup that you guys
yes,
painted, that's an awesome squad right there.
yes.
Okay.
These you have the totem, we have everybody that's there that came through from Germany, from LA, so there was something that we created, and the crew during this time was getting bigger. Like in the early '90s to 2000, we was getting like a lot of crew members that was part of the crew. Even when we first started in the '80s, it was like that. We had the African Bambaataa, we had the Grandmaster Flash, we had the Grand Wizard Theodore. We was always doing it from back then. It's like, from music videos to backdrop. I painted the inside of Bronx River Center in the early 80s, and when they all had the jam. All the little characters, the records, the Zulu Nation, was painted by me and Brim. So was always was part of this history. It's like, this is something that is now like the current young guys that in there. We have to totem too. One of the guy that we met, and also during that time with Howard Nazem, was like a prodigy into the art game. Like, these guys was like,
well, also,
doing
one of the things I want to say is that, all of this influence and competition amongst you guys you started formalizing, particularly you, Bio, and Nicer, the company, right? And what was important in the ethos of the company was that you guys were socially conscious and community conscious with your murals, right?
Right. In the beginning, like, when we painted, we painted stuff that, like we were painting stuff with characters, with weapons, with spray paint. But after a while, we lived in a community that, we have to change. So every other mural that we painted, like, and after, like, I would say 95, 96, we was making sure that these murals will represent the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I started, changing my style, like looking into the community and drawing, these buildings, drawing the Puerto Rican flag hanging from the building.
Yeah.
And
tell me about this project, because this is a very special project.
oh, this project, was really dope with the Boriqueña. And the guy, he reached out. I think they reached out to him from Casita Maria.
Yeah, Edgardo Rodriguez, right? He
Yes.
created it. Yes.
And he wanted us to do this mural, and through Gail from Casita, we created this mural that was really incredible. And this is funny because this Casita Maria was actually across the street where I was born and raised from. So it was like a win-win situation, because
and it's also right, and it's also associated with Joe Conzo, isn't it?
Right, and Joe Conso's grandma is part of that mural. Like, that's called the Three Sisters, and they shocked the world, and like in the '70s, and they was activists, and they were hardcore activists. They was like not sitting around waiting to stuff to happen. They just made stuff happen, So
Yeah.
this mural really represents them. Peace to Joe Conso, one love, and this mural. And also after that, we painted the Boriqueña, and I think it's like, showing a Puerto Rican superhero that is out here representing, and and we want to be part of that also. Like, anything that goes around the neighborhood, and when they put us on, we make sure that we give it 110% when we paint these murals.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've always enjoyed about the murals you guys have done throughout the Bronx, it's so anchored to the heritage and the pioneers of hip hop culture. You guys did the 40th anniversary of the cool DJ Herc, beautiful illustration with a portrait of him and the DJ Herc coming out like 3D at you, and that infamous Cadillac with the speakers on the back seat.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
it
And
was
also, you guys, again, with the bottom one, you pay homage to all the elements, you know, the breakdancing, the rapping, and the DJ.
right. So I'll break down really the first one. You know, it was cool because, you know, Cool Hercs reached out to us, and, you know, NYSA actually created a mural of the Cool Herc, really did a great job. Bio, like always, you know, with the letters, funky style. And on to the right, it was that famous Cadillac scene that he's have like these two large speakers in the back, you know, and we had painted it black and white, but later on we had changed the car to like a red car later on. But you know, the photo, and then the one in the bottom, I know you remember the Mad magazine. If you take this actual photo and you fold it just like the Mad magazine, you get another images that goes on this actual painting. And this was painted in the Rooftop Legend in the Lower East Side. You know, and
Yeah,
again,
that was really novel. I like that approach because it was interesting because you guys did a little illustration off to the right saying, hey, if you take a picture of this and print it and fold it, you get another image.
yes,
That was really clever.
Like you said, we always use stuff that, you know, is part of the, you know, the culture life. You know, this was painted in Poland. You know, we went to Poland, and me, Howard, Nazem, Bayo, and Nysa, and we painted this image. You know, like they loved us. Like whatever we've been doing here, we're doing it across the world, and the world loves hip hop. You know, the culture of just wearing the Kango. You know, you got the T-shirt and the breakdancing, the electric boogie, the DJing, the MC. It's all part of the culture that's around the world, and this is all part of, like, you know, again, you know, with part of the graffiti also.
Yeah, but let me ask you something. You're exporting culture, but you're also taking in culture. How is that changing you? When you were a kid, that you go to Europe, you go to all these countries, you see all these customs, you eat this different food, different language. How does that start affecting you?
Oh man, big time. You know, like I went to Mexico, and in Mexico, you know, we painted in Mexico City, and we met all these writers, you know, and not only there were writers, there was chavas, and the chava, like a lot of, you know, female graffiti artists. You know, it was more women graffiti artists than men, and that blew me away. And this is like, you know, late 90s. And because of that reason, you know, it does open your eye, that you feel that, you know, you feel that, oh, it's only poverty here in New York and the Bronx, but everywhere you go, you know, there's a ghetto, and you know, you get to learn the language. They respect you because you're from the Bronx and you're from New York, and you get to, you know, to love something that, you know, like I would never in my life will ever think about actually traveling, but this traveling to these countries, you know, it changes you, like it humble you, it shows you, like, you know, there's something better out there, and you know, it's just something that I don't know what to say. I'm really happy that it's going on. I have to thank God for all this.
But one of the nice things that you and your crew have done over the many years is heal the community through painting. Let's talk about the Memorial Murals. This is such a powerful one. Tell us about this project and how this came about.
Oh man, so you know, again, you know, you get to somebody that passed away. They know that we do memorial walls. They reach out to us, and they get us the photos. You know, they find us the wall. And this particular painting, you know, the actual firefighter, you know, if you look at the scene in the middle, it's a fire truck going to the World Trade Center, and he's actually inside that fire truck driving to the World Trade Center, and because of that, you know, he passed away. So that image was actually caught from somebody, and you know, these memorial wall was not like something that, you know, that we planned to do. It just became something like it was part of the community. Now, you know, now that people could go to these memorial walls, and you know, they would pray. I remember when I was doing all the faces on these memorial wall, people would be talking to me as I'm painting, and I'll look behind me, and will be like the aunt, the uncle, the brother, the best friend, the cousin will be like not talking to me, but they're talking to the face that I was painting, you know. So, you know, you get to know the person who passed away. And we was doing these and like, you know, every other block. We were doing them in the Bronx. We were doing them in Brooklyn. We went to New Jersey. We were doing them in Phillies. You know, we was doing them mostly everywhere. We also did one at MIT in Boston, you know, for a janitor that passed away, that he was a cool guy and he passed away. So this memorial wall, you know, it brought, you know, history. You know, it was like one of those things that when people would come and they would, you know, go to the office, you know, they already had a plan. You know, their plan was, you know, you're the crew. You're the only crew that could do this from, you know, for my brother, or for my brother that's my friend, you know, my cousin. You got to go and represent. And then they would give me, you know, a photo that you know, I don't really know the guy, and I'm drawing this photo on the wall, and next thing you know, we got this image. You know, this particular wall that you see, the guy was Heddick. I think Heddick, we painted like 3 walls for this one guy. And the background, it was done by Howard Nazem. Again, Bio did the letters and the words, you know, and Nisa jumped in with me and we did the whole body, the chain. And, you know, that's how we all work, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're the only crew that could work together as one and, you know, and make something happen. Like, it's not about me, it's about, you know, the stuff that we do.
One guy that you did know was Big Pun, and you guys painted a lot of murals for Big Pun up to a certain point.
Right. So Big Pun, you know, again, this particular wall was shot actually like he was doing like a promotional campaign, and me, Bio, and Nisa had this one wall that was there, and it was like, you know, Bio did a Bio piece, Nisa did a character with a bulletproof vest, and I did a BG, and then he had taken a photo in front of the wall for promotional to, you know, to tell people that he's a rapper, let the agency, the radio station know how he looked. So when he passed away, you know, this is the wall that we came to paint. And this wall, this particular wall we seeing now, is a wall that we painted, the last wall that we painted, you know, like he's with the Versace shirt. You know, this is one that he's in the video and he's dancing.
He's flossing right now.
You know, so this is like one of the best, you know, for us, it's one of the best mural we painted. And, you know, again, you know, everybody loved the Big Pun. And in the bottom, I don't know, you notice in the lower bottom, you see all these candles.
Yes.
It'll be lit it up at night, you know, so it was really, really like a lot of fan. You know, Pun had a big fan, you know, the only Latino to go double platinum.
Right.
You know, that's the best thing right there. So, you know, we can't let a legend just pass away and, you know, not remembering. That's why these memorial walls are so important, because it's not like you read a newspaper, the person passed away, a great guy passed away, but this guy always couldn't remember.
Right. And you also you memorialize a community, a neighborhood, right? And right. This, in particular, this painting is at the Graffiti Wall of Fame in 106 in Park. And it's interesting because you decided to paint what's actually there. It's a still life.
Yeah, so this was like a little mission, you know, like when I first started, you know, I thought I could knock this out. I could, you know, draw the 106 in Park Avenue. But as I was doing it, you know, I was drawing the projects across the street, and people would tap me on my shoulder and they would say, yo, you drew my window. That's my window right there. So now it became more like a community. Like people were loving this mural because it was painted there. And then I also had to paint the wall, the 106 in Park. I remember painting that wall, but then I had to repaint it again, smaller and more little details, you know. So by me painting these walls, you know, it just improved my detail of coloring. And ever since, we've been painting the Hall of Fame. I think we painting that since like 96 on the outside, but we usually used to paint in the 80s in the inside. You know, a lot of Bio, Nicer, Lace painted there, you know, me, Shane, you know,
right.
you
bring out the whole crew when you paint. It's interesting because you guys even got Crash down on your crew.
Right. So, you know, so it crashed, one of the guys that we started painting like almost in like mid 90s, we did a lot of war with him, Days. We painted with the OC males during that time. And, like Crash was one of those guys that, not only that he did galleries, he was had no problem painting outside. Like not too many artists would, do galleries and go outside to paint with local artists. And Crash was one of those guys that gotta tip my hat. Like this guy's really, really real to what he does. Like you ask him up, and he'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So in this particular one, we painted with part. This is a wall that's still up. This is on and Lower East Side, not Lower East Side, I'm sorry, in Manhattan. We painted that with part. It was me, part, Nicer, Bio, and Crash, and I think probably Days painted on this wall, if I'm not mistaken.
No. This was the exterior of the High Arts Gallery.
Right, that is right.
Yeah, and what I love about this painting is that in small details matter. You had a little boy with working the water pump.
Okay, and yeah, that's nice. Nicer created that character with the pump. Like me and Nicer, we going back. Like I've been enjoying the pump since like when we used to do like the Memorial Murals back then. And Nicer also paint stuff because we grew up in almost the same place. But yeah, that was something that Nicer created. Like Nicer's one of the guys that take a character and just kill it. He'd be killing it.
Yeah, super talented. So I want to go back to the early days, right? Because you grew up in the South Bronx, in same neighborhood more or less that I lived in, same experience. And out of all of this turmoil and trauma, something special happened, something called hip hop. And tell me about these images that you shared with me, you as a young man. Were you a DJ when you started coming up?
No, I was not a DJ. It was like only like a pastime. What it was is, like we lived in the South Bronx, like where everything basically started. Like, I got pictures of me breakdancing because that was something that you did because you was young. And the DJ because, it was summer, kind of like we was bored. My boy would bring a mixer from his house and we would grab a turntable from this guy's house, grab some speakers, and then we would set up in the basement and we would play, jams all day. We would front that we DJs, and, I would jump on a microphone, MC, so you did it all, what I'm saying? You did it all. And the Lord piece is like one of my first piece that I did on the train. I think right next to it is a bio. And I remember painting this first train, and this first train, it was like one of the coldest days. And I remember catching a lot of drips, like when they pulled out, I couldn't even fix it. So I remember people telling me, yo, you just did like the dopest train piece ever. And I like, no, in my mind, it was ugly. But, but everybody else saw it like, like I did a good job. And this is me, like before like Run DMC, before the LL, we had these Kango hat that was out. So I'm wearing a Kango hat. I think I have a gold chain.
Let me ask you something. Why didn't you stick to breakdancing or b-boy?
I don't know. I think I was not deep into it. Like I did a windmill. I broke. Started breaking. But it was something that it was only for like when I used to go to the club. But my love was also, was more into the art. Like it was more exciting because you're getting chased by police. You're doing something like it's not like you breakdancing, doing headspin, you might hurt yourself, but this one is like you might get caught, you might fall from into the tracks and hurt yourself. This was like more deep, like graffiti was like something that I think I would never ever switch to anything else because it brought speed, it brought energy, it made you tough. I used to never ever pay into the transit. I was always hopping. We found different way to get in into the train track, into the toll, what we used to do, we used to find like token slot that was from the construction site and put that in there to get in. We used to take the beer, the top part of the beer, the round, the ring, and we used to slide that down to the beer, like, and open up the train stop,
So
we did
all this mischief and all this delinquency was paying off for you because
yes.
you were learning, you were growing, and with a culture, right? And you obviously, as a young painter, as we could see in the image here, it wasn't just about the spray paint can. It was the brush. It was about being an artist. And one of the things I want to point out to our viewers and listeners is that what we're seeing here is in the center is a picture of you painting what looks like as a dragon, but the picture behind you is a famous picture of two DJs by Henry Chalfant. And then there's an image to the right. It looks like a photograph, but it's not. It's a painting. And what it's very special about this painting is you have the denim jacket that's painted. You have a mic hanging off of it, a turntable, shell toes, a crate of records with Our Latin Thing, and a poster of Bruce Lee. These are so iconic to all us kids who grew up at that period. And you keep coming back to these themes in your works.
No, I just love it, like, I want my paintings to represent, like 100 years later, 200 years later, this was going on in the time of my era, so this is what I try to do in my paintings. And the Bruce Lee, just like go back to 1970, 71, 72, with the Lee jackets, people were rocking Lee jackets because they wanted to go to a jam in the local, scenery, and you had graffiti artists, doing these Lee jackets on the jeans. And the turntable, show people is a technique, showing people like, you could DJ. And then the Adidas, I picked Adidas because that was a time that, when I was starting breakdancing, that's what the sneakers that I used to have back in the days. And the microphone just, to give it the element. So when I did this painting, this painting took me almost like, I think like 6-7 years to paint. I'm doing the outside work, but when I'm indoors, I'm really doing like really detailed painting that, just to bring life. I want people, when they see my paintings, is to remember and could tell a story, because this is the era that was happening and everything else. Right. Every day I create this type of image.
Right. And in this slide, what I did was juxtapose your painting next to a photograph of a corner bodega. And the painting is great. It just takes me there to the neighborhood, the corner deli with the L train on top, but also the kids breakdancing in the street. Again, this is a romantic memory for you, isn't it?
Yeah, this is always bring me back, like before the graffiti, there was the dancing, I remember the jams and I think that's a kid holding a really beatbox on his shoulder, listening to music. And the grocery store, just to show how, like what every day where I used to be at, saying like where I used to come from painting, or, I have to go to the store for my mom, that was the grocery store that you met everybody. Everybody would be there. They would tell you where the next jam would take place. Oh, look, BG, they're going to have a jam, all the way on the west side of the Bronx. As, you want to, we should go there. We had different places. So that was like everything. So all that stuff that I grew up, so I have to put it down on these paintings. I see, when people could look back, and remember that. And this one painting, I really love this painting because, these are paintings for hire. People ask me, I want a painting, to show where I was from. So this particular painting here, he wanted the L train and also the tunnel. So I didn't even know how to go about it. So if you really look into it, it has a train and a tunnel on the bottom part.
Yes.
You see the train. Like you don't pick that up till later on. You think it's a reflection from the building, but it's actually the tunnel. And then you have a payphone with two guys on the payphone, and you have some stray dogs in the background. You have the carnival, the building, the graffiti tags, the Puerto Rican flag, the sneaker hanging, the clothes, you know. So this is what the person wanted, you know. So when I got hired to do this, you know, I just, you know, sat down and created this image on paper first, gave it to the customer. He loved it, and like a month later, like 6 weeks later, I created this painting.
And these themes keep coming. You know, I love this one, and it's such an unusual style for you. It's very different, but I love this so much because it brings me there. The action, it brings me there in terms of the community, the woman. You know, the little details of the woman looking out the window with the sneakers on the wire, like the dog patiently looking at the handball court players.
Yeah. This is like, you know, what I want to create. And it's funny because when I showed this one guy this painting, this guy, you know, my man Souls, you know what I'm saying? He's also part of TAT. He's also a handball player, and he gave me all the name that's actually currently like one of the best in New York City. And I've actually wrote their name on the actual wall. So, you know, that was like another thing that, you know, as I paint, you know, the painting never stops. It's always got something going on. So this particular one, because we did a lot of handball, you know, like when you couldn't paint subways anymore, you know, the next best thing was a handball court. And then after you couldn't really do handball court, but you always got buff, you went to the walls, and the walls lasted a little longer.
So let me ask you something. Commissions like this, these personal commissions, do you not feel that perhaps this kind of painting style and theme could be on its own the fine art experience, the fine art painting for galleries?
Yes, it is. But it's actually time consuming because you really have to sit there and draw almost every day, you know, like, you know, for us as a company, you know, me, Bio and NISA, we working on large scale mural for companies. And so like to do these canvases with a lot of so much details, it's like it's time, you know, like I could probably do maybe one every month. So, you know, you're looking at probably like 10 to 12 canvas a year. I could do like real detailed canvas. And you see like the one on top, the one to the left, the one to the right, these all canvases that I paint. But if you look at each one of them, they all got all different style, because for me, it's like throughout the whole year of my life, I always been painting like all different stuff. So, you know, I do like kind of like a pop art. You know, that's where you see the train. It has like all these multiple colors.
And BG, you know what's interesting, because you bring up something very important that is in the next series of works we'll see, is about efficiency, right? It's the same kind of efficiency you had when you were painting trains that you need to bring to your paintings, because you have the job with the crew that has to be executed. That's consuming. But the one thing that you found, just like Bio has found the heart as a symbol to replicate and to reimagine for himself, you found the fire hydrant.
Right.
And so
yeah,
we
the fire hydrant is like I think just remembering the time, you know, like you know, like the time that when it was hot, you know, like, you know, you don't really had AC, so the only time you really enjoy yourself was to go, you know, into the street when you were 6 years old, and you go into the hydrant. I remember standing there, you know, next to the hydrant, and this one guy looked at me, and next thing you know, he threw me into the hydrant with the water blasting, and I remember sliding down the street, you know, with the blast of the water, you know, and that made me remember that don't trust no one, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it brings life, it brings everything, you know, like, even with the time that, you know, like you're drinking water, you know, and people used to say, I will never pay for water. You know, that's when they had like 25 cents water, and people would never pay water. Now the water's up to $5 and people paying for water. Back then, so all this is like, you know, for me to just remember. So I just throw this hydrant in the picture, because it shows life. You know, you need water to survive, to stay healthy. And so all these paintings it tells a story. It's like, be water. That's what Bruce Lee would say. You know what I'm saying? Like float like water, and you be water. So these paintings, when I do, I feel that effect. It
Yeah.
makes me like.
And you brought the works to Wallworks. You did a show with Crash. It's Crash's gallery in the Bronx, Wallworks. That was a fantastic show. I really have to take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
And now you're pursuing fine art. You're balancing your life between fine art painting and mural painting.
Yes, that's it bugged out. Like I stopped the drawing because I wanted to be more of a graph artist, but now I'm bringing both elements together because I could take a cat if you want me to draw little details of a person walking like 1 inch tall. I could do that with a spray can.
Yeah,
And
if I can interrupt you for a second, because I want, on that point, I want people to see this mural that you guys did at the, your first TATS crew layup. I think it was the rooftop, but the amount of detail is astonishing, man. It's incredible.
like this is a place that like when I was just want to get away and just go out there and to improve my art. So I find ideas and I just put it together, and next thing you know, I'm creating. And as I'm creating, more stuff comes into mind. So I want to do a clown with like with yellow teeth. I did a spray can biting the clown's hand, and then onto the right is like it's really two little kids with face masks, but the face mask actually one mask says B and the other mask is a G.
Yes, I've noticed
So
that. And the balloons are 183.
the 183. So just to continue creating, and then and then you have like the guy in the middle. He's like the guy who's controlling the whole movement of this whole mural. So and then you see a person like acting that he's passed away. But this something that we did. I have Bio did the letters and Nisa did the character in the middle, and I created the two characters on each end. And
So
that's how
yeah, I was going to say,
that's how it will work.
I'm sorry, forgive me. So you guys have this space, and I remember visiting this rooftop. This was like your personal layup.
Yeah, it is.
Now you guys have a real layup. You have a train that you guys practice.
Yes.
With quite a lot, and a lot of people come paint. They come
Yes,
over to visit and paint with you.
I think that's the thing that makes like our office like really special. You get these guys that come from overseas. They're real trained bombers. They come and they say, "Yo, can I paint the train?" And they always ask me, Bio Nicer, "Oh, can you paint with me?" So I love to paint with them because these guys are so fast. I'm painting next to them. I'm thinking I'm going quick, and these guys are finishing up. So at the same time, I'm learning skills from these guys from overseas. So, I'm like the guy that, like, yeah, paint with me, but I'm painting with them, learning from them. At the same time, they're learning from me. So every day, like 3 to 4 days out of the week, I'm painting with someone. And, that person that I'm painting with, I'm learning from them, and they could ask me any type of question. They always ask me how you get so much little details and how these lines come out real skinny. What cap do you use? What spray paint you use? And for me, you give me any type of can, any type of cap, I make it happen.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, it's not just to the trains, but in the walls. I mean, your walls capture the same energy, no matter the texture. That doesn't even matter to you. The texture of the wall doesn't seem to matter. You apply yourself as if it's a normal surface.
This particular wall is in Brooklyn, and is a good friend of mine, Yes One, and he has these walls that he always asks us to paint, and this theme again, it was like it was the Puerto Rican Day Parade a day, and we painted this wall. It was me, Bio, again, Crash, Nisa, a lot of more artists came through. Clark came through, and and again, that these are artists that you continuously painting with. Like there's no one that I know that I don't paint with. You know, like everybody come and paint with me or paint with the crew, and that's a good thing. Our doors are open for everyone. Everybody comes through the door. You know, sometimes they can't even speak English, and you know, and the only thing we know that this person here is actually, you know, writes graffiti, and the only thing he wants to know, you know, can you paint? Then you be like, yeah, 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 let's go, and you painting, and you enjoying the moment, and they enjoying also the time. You know, like this particular mural is done in Second Avenue A in the Village. You know, Nysa created a character of me, you know, shooting up fire from a can, and at the same time, I did my name kind of like burning, and I did like the, you know, Second Avenue. You know, I love it. Like every time, you know, not only that I want to do my name, I also want to create something brand new that is not the same piece. You know, people have to go and look at it. Oh, it's a BG. Oh, I didn't know BG did that. So, you know, just creating everything new. I think because of my office, like you were saying earlier, the rooftop, the train. So all these skills, you know, come from all these guys around the world that come. You know, I don't mind learning. You know, if you ask, you tell me, look, there's a mistake there. I'll be like, oh yeah, thank you. I'll go fix it. I'm not like, oh, you know, no, man, I like it. While you're telling me what to do, you know.
So let me ask you something. Do you have a preference in terms of your painting between letter style writing or depicting some kind of fantastic background or character?
Nah, I just create every day and something new. Sometimes they're a hit, sometimes they're not, but I just love painting. I think just having a can in my hand and smelling the paint is always perfect. Like this is, you know, one of the pieces that I did is a BG183 style. If you look at the bottom, it's another BG. There's a bio. This is a nicer. And this is the one wall that I was talking about earlier about Big Pun that he took the picture in front of.
Yes.
The lower bottom, that's the one he took. And that's why that now we have this Big Pun wall. I think we did like a total of 9 to 10 memorial walls for him.
Wow. So again, you know, going back to style, because it's not just about style writing, it's about painting, actual painting, and applying color theory and finding balance, not just with letter forms, but with color. And I love this painting so much because it exemplifies the intelligence of your color usage and those things that make something so appealing to the eye and interesting to the eye. Yes, it's wild style and it's all this, but again, the way you've applied color is so important in this particular mural.
Yeah, just love, you know, just create something every day. You know, sometimes it's there, you know, maybe this was a day that was a good day, or maybe this one painting that was like a day that I'm going on a rough day, you know, but paintings is just, you know, like it just come and if you love what you do, I think in the end, you created something that, you know, people definitely going to enjoy. And um, I think that when people come and see these walls, you know, or when I'm painting this wall, you know, they ask, you the artist? I'll be like, yeah, I'm the artist. Yo, I love it. You don't understand. You don't know what it means to me. And I like, you know, like I look at them like, you know, I'm glad it means something to you because, you know, right now I'm just creating and, you know, when I'm done, you know, then it means something to me.
So let me ask you this as we start winding down. Given that you love painting so much, you love the activity of being with your friends and painting. Now, how is Corona affecting you creatively and professionally?
Oh no, it actually is, you know, you're creating more because now you have more time. You don't have to, you know, that next meeting, you don't have to go to that next meeting. That next meeting definitely gonna be a phone meeting. So you create more. Like you have to figure out what's the next project.
What have you been creating?
You know, right now I'm working on this one, have it next to me. It's a lead jacket, working on lead jacket, you know, for a person that actually reached out to me. Um, I'm working on right now, want to do like, you know, people always ask me when I'm painting, you know, can you teach me? So maybe I do some kind of like a teaching course. Like people will come see me, you know, like you only need like 10 minutes, 7 minutes with my time, and I could help you improve your graffiti. Basically, you know, you have to pick up a paint. You know, you have to spray like at least a year to 2 years. This is not like for beginners. This is for somebody that want to improve, you know, how to do a straighter line, how to make a skinny line.
So
So
this would be perfect for me.
yeah, be
I have to
perfect for
take your
anybody.
class.
7 minute course, you know, like, you know, I don't know how much would it be, but for 7 minutes, I could teach somebody how to use a
Awesome.
can and, you know, from a fat cap to a skinny cap.
Well, as we start closing this down, I want to thank you, man, for sharing your story. It's just a phenomenal story. We had the opportunity to speak with Bio and get to learn his journey. And again, you guys are a crew, but individually, you guys are so accomplished in your own ideas and in your own skill sets. And I want people to be on the lookout for your book. Tell them where they can find this book.
Oh, this one particular book, I think it was done like 10 years ago. You could pick it up on eBay. You know, this is just type in BG183. And anybody who wants to Google me, just Google BG shopping. You know, I got my own homepage in Google. You know, like you type my name and I'm all over the place. So, you know, I got thousands and thousands of work that I've done. And, you know, this particular book, you could definitely, it might be limited now. You know, you may find it, may not find it, but it's probably laying around still. You could pick it up.
Are you considering publishing maybe a biography book of your work, something, a monograph?
Actually, the crew is actually working on one that, you know, I think we probably like 90% done. You know, be like, oh, close to 40 years of TATS crew, you know, from the trains to now. Yeah, but definitely that's the only book that is available. But later, you know, we definitely could make that happen and have definitely have this how you call it, this biography of BG183, you know. But again, you know, just pick up a canvas and that's history itself right there.
BG, estamos viejo.
Oh yeah, man.
So folks, I please, if you have any questions for BG, let's get them in because we have about 5 minutes. And so I see you, Futura. Thank you for checking in. Ken, I see you. Thank you for checking in. Dero, thank you for checking in. I love the kind of support you're getting. Wayne's checking in. You are a legend. You've earned it. And
Joanne, love you.
Sess is checking in. Presidente from Dubai is in the house.
Smog
One from Paris. So you have
painted with him.
Yeah, you
all these guys I painted with.
Great addict. Nicer. Nicer.
Love Nicer. Yeah. Nicer.
So no questions. It seems like you're just getting props right now from some great people. Yeah. Sai, I see you. Miroism.
Yeah, these guys, you know, these guys, they come around and they show me love. I show them love, and they got love for me. They know that what I do is real. You know what I'm saying? I don't play when it comes to, you know, showing my skills, you know, and this is what I love to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're a generous soul, and we all appreciate that. And you give to the community, you give to kids. You guys have been doing this your whole career.
It's my dog. All right.
So my friends out there, I don't see any questions for you. I wonder why. Here, I'll ask you a question. Who's the best style writer?
My DM is full.
You gotta be honest. Mira, you have to be honest with me. Who's the best style writer of the crew?
Oh man, so they will look to the left, they look to the right, and they're gonna say, man, BG183 is the best. Ooh, anyone. I got the train to prove we could come to the train or to the rooftop.
Oh my God, you're calling out your own crew. Anyways, Mira, so I really want to thank you, my brother, for spending the time with us, for sharing your story, your art, your history, and we look forward to what you do next individually, also collectively with the TATS crew. So With that, I want to say peace. I love you. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Take care of your family and yourself.
Right. Peace to the TATS crew. Love y'all. Totem, Havanazam, Bio, Nisa, Ken, Sam, Mac, Diro, all you guys. Yes, one, love you, man. Wayne, love you, man. You know what I'm saying? We go way back, all the way to the 80s, painting trains, Flavor, yeah, from Puerto Rico and Aguarilla.
Yeah.
Yes, we got love for you. You the best out there. My man, Ski from Carolina.
Yeah.
Per, love you too, man. I got Muse, all these people, man. Jay, I see you, Jay. I see you. I got love for you, my man, Big Earl. I got you. Love it, man.
Go ahead, take us out with the roll call.
For having me, man. Oh man, loving it. Like these guys, again, like they come around and you having a good time, we doing these barbecues at the TATS crew office, with the coronavirus, you can't do none of that, but hopefully everything changed,
It'll come back around, my friend. It'll come back around, God willing.
We did, and then we also, whoever didn't pick up those coloring books, could pick it up through Warworks or through the Museum of Graffiti, you know what I'm saying? So you can pick up these coloring books, they really dope. I think this is something that if you never get a chance to collect your favorite artists, this is how you collect your favorite artists, collecting this coloring book, and it's good for your kids. They could draw and they could have fun and they could learn a little history about these style writers that's out there,
Thank you
and
for that. Thank you for that plug.
For the train. I loving this. Thank you very much, man.
So BG, thank you again. And I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow at 7 p.m. we have Faith 47 joining us. She's a fantastic painter. She's an amazing
man, love
painter.
her. She got great work. I see her work, definitely.
So we'll be looking forward to having a conversation with her. So as we count this down with 30 seconds to go, my friend, thank you, and thank everybody else out there who's been checking in with us. Okay?
Good. Thank you for checking in. Peace. One love.
Cuídate.
Corazón. TATS crew.